Hello and welcome to the Rec Show podcast, where we talk about local business and community. What's going on in your community? And today we're lucky enough to grab the president, CEO of the Rancho Cordova Chamber. Diane Rogers is with us, and we're going to talk about what the chamber does today, right?
Appreciate that. Glad to have the opportunity.
Yeah. So you guys are the Rancho Cordova Chamber. Tell us the area that you guys cover, because sometimes people think it's just Rancho Cordova.
Yeah, in fact, we've started actually calling ourselves the Rancho Cordova Area Chamber for that very reason.
Right.
The chamber itself's been around since 1963, and the city's just been around since 2003. So
Right.
you can see that there's been a pretty
Sure.
big change. We serve not only the city of Rancho Cordova, but Rosemont, Mather, Gold River, and Rancho Murrieta as well.
Well, that's a pretty large territory, really, when you think about it.
It is, and it's a relatively diverse one as well, not only with the folks who live and make their homes there, but as well as the business communities.
Right, and a lot of different type of businesses in that area, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
What are the main? You have a huge members, right? You
We
have
do. Yeah,
like
we have
3,000 members.
Well, there's 3,000 businesses. I'd love to
Okay.
tell you that all of those were chamber members, but we're
Okay.
working on that.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
but you're right. There's a diversity in the kinds of things. The needs down in Rancho Murrieta are a little bit different than
Sure.
what they serve. The city of Rancho Cordova, as I mentioned, has 3,000 businesses. A lot of them small, all over the place. But we're the second largest job center. The city is in the whole county or the whole
wow.
region. Next to the, if you took away the government jobs from the city of Sacramento, we'd be the largest one.
Really? Wow.
A lot of manufacturing,
Right.
a lot of industrial kinds of things going on. It's a whole world back there that I think people don't even realize is there.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought of that. You
No.
know, Rancho Cordova being such a large employer in those type of jobs. And then there's restaurants, there's shops, there's all kinds of businesses that way too, right?
Right. Well, we have an area called the Barrel District. We've got a bunch of breweries, distilleries, and we even had a meadery. I don't know if people have had the chance to. If
yeah,
you
I
haven't
think
ever
I
had
heard about
mead, it's terrific. Honey wine.
Right.
And that's been a great draw for that area. We also have a very large hotel population. People don't think of that
Right.
in Rancho either, but we've got almost 19 hotels. And one of my favorite questions to ask folks is how many. We've got about 2,000 rooms, but last year we had 600,000 room nights in Rancho Cordova.
Wow,
Which
wow.
is a huge number, and people don't, we got to
Well,
think
you don't
of that.
think of that. You don't think of that in Rancho Cordova. Talking to Diane Rogers today. She's the president CEO of the Rancho Cordova Chamber, and we're talking about what does the chamber do? What are some of the things that you guys help your members with?
Well, I appreciate the question because it's actually changed a little bit since the pandemic took place, but we focus on three primary things. The first is advocacy. We need to be that voice for and about business because very few, except those really large corporations, they don't have a voice down in Sacramento or in Washington, D.C.,
Right.
and we have the ability to do that. As a matter of fact, we even have on staff a lobbyist that speaks for the voice of business down in Sacramento.
Okay.
Secondly, we offer a lot of networking opportunities. People need to make connections and need to, build their portfolio of clients,
Sure.
and we provide those opportunities.
Right.
We've gone virtual over the past few months.
Yeah.
It's actually been very successful. I was a little skeptical at first, but it's been very, very successsul. We've had a lot of contacts. People will say, I need one of those, or I need to
Right.
talk to you about things.
Sure,
And
sure.
it's pretty cool. The third element that we offer is business resources, because a lot of times it's simply, how do I write a really good business plan, or who do I
Right.
talk to about getting a loan, or
Right.
how do I address this employee challenge? And we are the facilitator of that. Certainly not experts and don't pretend to be, but we do facilitate those relationships. We like to think of ourselves as a catalyst, facilitator.
Right.
So, and then a lot of it is helping people interpret what's going on with regards to COVID-19 and how it applies to them.
And then I know one of the clients we work with, Gold River Distillery, they got a grant through you guys to do more hand sanitizer, right?
They did. They are a terrific chamber member. We appreciate them. That's a great example of a business who saw an opportunity, took advantage of the resources that they had right there on site, and pivoted. I know it's a well-used word, but I'm trying to come up with some new ones, and have done an extraordinary job with responding to that. We hope to be able to offer some more grants later down the line as well.
That's great.
Not a huge amount of money, but it can make the difference. We've had folks buy tables and chairs to be able to work outside. We've had folks do some social media advertising.
Sure.
We've had folks do different kinds of advertising resources.
Sure.
We even had somebody buy equipment for their outside gym to be able to move some of their stuff outside.
Makes sense, yeah.
worked
Well, I
out
think
great.
everybody's doing whatever they need to do to kind of survive and
Right.
keep the wheels turning, right?
Exactly.
And you guys are a big help in that for a lot of businesses that are members.
We like to think so, and what we've really found during this time is not only I'm very proud of the members we have, and they've done an extraordinary job. But part of our responsibility is to expand beyond that.
Sure.
So we really are servicing a much larger area than our members. They get the bulk of our attention and focus, but really we need to help everybody. This is, if anything's come through to me in spades in this pandemic, is the fact that we need to collaborate and cooperate with each other. We really need to support each other as a whole.
Yeah, and we're seeing that a lot. I think we're seeing that a lot more than we did before the pandemic.
Absolutely.
You're seeing whole industries decide to work together instead of just being competitors,
Sure.
making things better for their business and for the customers. And so you're seeing a lot of those partnerships kind of sprout up.
Right. We've seen it not only in industries, and I can give you an example, for example, restaurants, which have been extraordinarily hit by this pandemic. They're collaborating together to make their purchasing power more effective. So they're being able to get better pricing, then be able to pass those costs or those savings on to their customers and be able to continue to operate. But it also applies to the chamber industry as a whole. We are working together and collaborating with all of each other about best practices. We all are slightly different, and it's not a geographic thing. People pick a chamber that meets their needs, their business needs most appropriately. And I have no problem. Look, if you should really be talking to this chamber or that chamber because it will serve your needs better. It's an investment that we make with each other, and it's important to recognize that I want to put you in the very best position that makes you successful. We use the word not always profit, but being prosperity. And the reason I say prosperity is because that means something different to everybody. We've got nonprofit clients that prosperity means one thing. We have, very folks that need to sell all the time. That prosperity means something different. It means something different to the very large corporations. So that's what we work around.
I think the great thing about a chamber is they're a part of the community, obviously the business community, but there's events that come out of that that are for the whole community, right?
Absolutely.
And you guys are able to do that, and you're able to help local business at the same time.
Right, and I'll share a few examples with that. We just were able to host our golf tournament. Thank goodness we were able to do something, and it worked out beautifully.
Oh, good.
Met all the protocols, but it worked out beautifully. We also do, for example, a business expo, and we've got. We had nearly 100 businesses a year ago, and nearly 1,000 folks go through and visit those businesses. We created an environment where people can connect with and see, in one area. In fact, that event created and grew. We realized that we weren't providing a service for a really small business, home-based businesses, crafts, things like that. So we actually, a number of years ago, developed a holiday craft fair that met the need of a different part of our membership. And I'm real proud of the fact that we recognized what needed to happen, and we were able to respond to it.
Right. And we were talking earlier about pivoting and how businesses had to pivot. We've seen a lot of that with, almost every industry's had to pivot to some degree or another.
No question.
And kind of decide, hey, we're going to do this service now because there's a need for it that we didn't even really think about before. How impressed have you been by local business and the Rancho Cordova Chamber kind of making that pivot, making that switch, making that change?
Extraordinarily so. I mean, part of what I love about this job, and I will unabashedly say it's the best job I've ever had. I absolutely love it because I get exposed and the opportunity to see up close and personal the passion people have about their individual businesses, whether it's a restaurant or a manufacturing or a distillery, whatever it may be. And that I have such great confidence in our business community to be able to respond as they need to. And I suppose it's kind of corny, but that's totally the American dream. It's our entrepreneurial spirit that makes people say, hey, I can do that, or I can figure it out, or what do I need to do to make it happen? And we've seen some great examples. You mentioned Greg over at Gold River Distillery. Our other distillery did much of the same thing. We had some of our manufacturing folks start making the masks that flip over kind of thing. We've had some folks that are doing a great business creating decals and signage and things like that, meeting all the criteria, and having to make their product a little bit more aware. Because, for example, you're putting things down on the floor where people are having to walk all over them. Well, you got to make sure that your product can withstand that. So it may be little things like that, but that's the kind of response that we're seeing, and it's been extraordinary.
Yeah, I just think the spirit of business and small business has just really shown during the pandemic, and to be able to switch on a dime like a lot of businesses had to stay relevant, to stay in business, that's a tough thing to do over a long period of time, let alone in a real quick window like they've had to do.
I think so. I think the way you're describing that is excellent. But in addition to that, it goes back to the comment we made earlier about collaborating and cooperating
Right.
with each other.
Yep.
I think people are, one business may be located next door to, and they see something that they're doing, and they can figure out how to complement that,
Right.
how they can work together. And it's kind of corny, I suppose, but I have this philosophy of 2 + 2 can actually equal 5.
I think so. You're stronger together.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And we've seen that time and time again over the last few months of
Yeah.
businesses you never thought that would work together
No.
are now working together and have created a new product or an addition to both of their services to be successful.
Right, and I think it's also a change in people's attitude towards business as
Sure.
well. I mean, many years ago, people were very parochial, very isolated. They didn't
right.
talk
It's
to each
mine.
other.
That's
it's
my
mine.
biz-
Yeah,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
don't get in my face about it. But now you're seeing, I think, a lot of change in attitude about that, and I
Right.
think it's possibly generational. It's possibly the pandemic. All those things, but whatever it is, it's working, and we need to celebrate that and move forward on
Yeah,
that.
the ability to adapt,
Exactly.
I think, has been incredible during the pandemic, and just seeing what small business is
Yes.
doing on a daily, weekly basis.
Yeah.
As we've talked before, things change daily, they change weekly, they change monthly.
Seems hourly sometimes, but yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I started a new business in the Rancho Cordova area.
Okay.
What do I need to do to become a member of the Rancho Cordova Chamber?
Well, I appreciate that. Give us a call at 916-273-5700 or visit our website, ranchocordova.org. We would love to talk to you, share the resources and tools we have available to you, put you in contact with some folks that may be able to support you. We have just all different kinds of programs and projects that we believe are valuable to our members in a lot of different ways.
And you guys also have a Facebook page, and you're
We
on
do.
Instagram. So the Rancho Cordova Chamber, you can look
Yep.
for them in a lot of places and get information from any of those sources, right?
Right. And something I should probably mention, we also have an app, and we encourage the community to download that
Okay.
app. It's on both the platforms, and it can show you what activities we're doing. It's a directory of the businesses that we have. And then on the front page of our website, we're working really hard to make sure that the community knows which businesses are open and which are offering
Okay.
services.
Right.
We got please support those businesses. That is
Right.
the heartbeat of our community,
Right.
and that's where the resources are. So if you can shop a little early for the
Right.
holidays or buy one extra meal out
Right.
or something along
Right.
those lines, please do so. It makes a huge difference.
I think it makes a big difference in the
Yeah.
community as a whole, and you can find out about services that maybe that restaurant offered that you weren't.
Sure.
Maybe they have DoorDash. Maybe they didn't a couple months ago, but they have DoorDash now, so you can
Right.
get food delivered.
Right.
So all kinds of changes. So get that app, the Rancho
Yes.
Cordova Chamber, and then you'll be up to date on what some of the local businesses are doing and
Yeah.
maybe how their services have changed just a little bit.
Absolutely. I
Diane
appreciate that.
Rogers, the president and CEO of the Rancho Cordova Chamber, thanks so much for being with us. Some great information today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll catch you next time
All
on
right.
the Rec Show podcast.